Good morning, students. Let's start with the analytical chemistry. Analytical chemistry based on analysis. Analysis means to identify something that can be based on quality or quantity. If we are identifying an unknown substance, then it is qualitative analysis. And when we are determining the composition of a mixture, then it is quantitative analysis. Qualitative analysis is being done in the labs when we are treating one unknown substance with a particular chemical which leads the different test or specific test to a particular ion. Mostly your reagents are alkali, which are present in the lab and named as the laboratory reagent. When we are treating that alkali with a certain substance, it gives a specific test. And these specific tests are their identifying tests, or by this we can identify a particular ion, whether it is your cation or anion. In that one, a table is there. This table deals with the colorless ions and colored ions. These two whether the colorless ions or colored ions, in this one, the positive ion are present. These positive ion, first ammonium ion, sodium ion, potassium ion, calcium ion, magnesium ion, aluminium ion, lead ion, zinc ion, all are colorless in nature. Whereas cupric ion, blue in color, ferrous ion, light green color, ferric ion, yellowish brown color, nickel ion, green color, chromium ion, green color, again the manganese ion with the pink color. These are the cations, means the metal ions. After that, some anions with the colorless nature and colored nature. In the colorless option, chloride ions, your sulfate ions, carbonate ions, nitrate, hydrogen carbonate ion, sulfide ion, bromide ion, and acetate ions are there. On the other hand, with the colored ions, that is permanganate ion, formula is MnO4 negative. It is pink or purple in color. Dichromate ion, Cr2O2, Cr2O7, 2 negative, orange in color, chromate ion, yellow in color. Students, kindly learn this table thoroughly because this table is very, very important, and on this table all the reactions will be going on. After that, the next topic came the color of the salt and their solution. Under the color of the salt and their solution, we have to study one is the representative elements. In the periodic table, you have done the what are the representative elements for the repetition. Representative elements are present in the group 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, which are colorless in nature. On the other hand, transition elements, D block elements, which are present in the group 3 to 12, are generally colored. And different colored of that salts help to identify the qualitative analysis. Some your ions we have studied here, that the colored and colorless ions are there. When we are treating the alkali on the metal cation, it results are different and it forms the hydroxides which appear mostly they are insoluble in nature. When they are insoluble in nature, they form the precipitate, and the process is called precipitation. Precipitation is the process of formation of insoluble solid. Means when we are treating two chemicals and after the treatment some insoluble solid is settled at the bottom, that is your precipitate. Precipitates are formed when the solutions are mixed. The solid thus formed is called a precipitate. Different chemicals, different ions, different metal ions gives the different color of the precipitate, and on the basis of that precipitate, on the color of that precipitate, whether the precipitates are forming or the different colors of the precipitate can help us to identify a particular ion. Only those compounds form precipitate which are insoluble in water. Means those who are soluble in water can't form the precipitate, only that will form the precipitate which are insoluble in water. Now the next question is, next topic is coming, action of the sodium hydroxide solution. Now this sodium hydroxide is treating as a reagent on some metallic salt solution. It will treat with the your certain metallic your salt solution and give the different test. One thing keep in your mind, whenever you are adding the sodium hydroxide or caustic soda, it should be added drop by drop so that the accurate result can be judged and the precipitate can be formed, which can be identified very clearly. For that, the first table is coming in which we are treating the calcium salts. We are taking the calcium salt. Under the calcium salt, the compound is calcium nitrate. We are treating the calcium nitrate with the caustic soda. When the treatment of the calcium nitrate with caustic soda is going on, a compound is forming with a white precipitate, means that white precipitate, white solid is settled at the bottom in the test tube. That is your calcium hydroxide. How you can identify the calcium hydroxide? Because it's white precipitate indicated with the solution sodium nitrate which is colorless in nature. This is by by drop adding. And when we are adding that your excess of the alkali in it, means the sodium hydroxide is being added in excess, then this one white precipitate will strangely soluble, white strangely soluble solution will be forming there. Here, one thing keep in mind, then when we are adding a drop by drop, the different result will be coming, and when we are taking in excess, then the different results are appearing with the particular salt or your particular solutions. Second one is iron. Under the iron, the two your salts are there. One is your ferrous salt, Fe2 positive ion, and another is your ferric salt, Fe3 positive ion. Ferrous will give the different result and the ferric will give the different one result. When the ferrous sulfate treating with this your sodium hydroxide, it will lead to the dirty green glutinous precipitate. And when the ferric is being treated with the sodium hydroxide, then the reddish brown precipitates are forming. It means that the salt can give the different result with the same reagent. And when we are taking in excess of the caustic soda in that solution, then the dirty green your precipitate will be again insoluble in that one. And on the other hand, with the ferric, it will give the reddish brown precipitate, which is again insoluble. With the copper salt is being treated, copper salt which had the blue color treating with the sodium hydroxide give us the pale blue PPT. This pale blue PPT with the sodium sulfate again treating with the your sodium hydroxide in excess, and there will be a formation of the pale blue insoluble. Your solution is there. Zinc salt. Zinc salts are mostly colorless in nature. Zinc salt treating with the sodium hydroxide, there will be a formation of the white glutinous PPT, ZnOH twice in the PPT form. Arrow down is there, means the precipitates are forming. With the sodium sulfate, that sodium sulfate is colorless in nature, and in excess it will give the soluble glutinous white your solution is there. With zinc, excess of sodium your hydroxide precipitate dissolved, as we have shown here. That one excess will lead to the sodium zincate. Sodium zincate formula is Na2ZnO2, that is colorless in nature. Next is lead salt. Lead salt, your lead nitrate, colorless in nature, treating with the sodium hydroxide, which is colorless in nature, leads a white precipitate of the lead hydroxide with the sodium nitrate, that is colorless in nature. In excess of the sodium hydroxide, this solution will give us the chalky white soluble your nature. And when this your lead hydroxide in excess is taken, same as the zinc has done, the sodium plumbite is forming Na2PbO2 in that is also colorless in nature. White precipitate of the lead hydroxide is readily soluble in acetic acid. Very important point. Kindly note it down and mark it important. The white precipitate of the lead hydroxide is soluble in acetic acid. Last is your ammonium salt, very important. Ammonium salt, ammonium chloride, treating with the sodium hydroxide, ammonium chloride, the white solid is there, treating with the sodium hydroxide, colorless in nature, we are heating it. Salt is forming sodium chloride with the water and ammonia gas. Ammonia having a pungent, choking, pungent smell, which turns the your nascent reagent, Nestler reagent brown. Ammonium sulfate treating with the sodium hydroxide. Sodium sulfate is forming again with the water and ammonia. A gas is there which turns your Nestler reagent brown. Potassium hydroxide. We have done the whole table with the sodium hydroxide, and the same results will be coming with the potassium hydroxide named as caustic potash. Next table is based on ammonium hydroxide. The first table was based on sodium hydroxide. All the salts are again being treated with the ammonium hydroxide. As you know, the ammonium hydroxide is weak alkali. Sodium hydroxide is a strong alkali. Ammonium hydroxide, when the treatment of ammonium hydroxide is being done, calcium give no precipitation, and that is the differentiating test to check the between the sodium hydroxide and your ammonium hydroxide based on your calcium salt. This is because the concentration of OH negative ion from the ionization of ammonium hydroxide is low. As the ammonium hydroxide is weak alkali, it will not give the properly concentration of hydroxide ion, and by this the precipitation process will not occur at here. Iron, your ferrous sulfate, which is green in color, treating with ammonium hydroxide, leading to the dirty green precipitate with the ammonium sulfate, which is colorless in solution. In excess, it will give the insoluble, again the nature with a dirty green precipitate. Ferric chloride, yellow solution, treating with ammonium hydroxide, gives the your reddish brown PPT with a colorless solution, and ferric your sulfate, treating with again ammonium hydroxide. Ferric sulfate is the yellow solution, gives the reddish brown PPT is there, precipitates are there which are in excess, gives the insoluble nature with the reddish brown precipitate. Copper salt, copper salt when treating copper, which has the blue coloration, copper salt when treated with the ammonium hydroxide, it gives the pale blue PPT and colorless solution of ammonium sulfate. In excess, it will give the pale blue your PPT formation. When we are taking the excess of ammonium hydroxide in total solution, then it will form tetraamine. Check it how to name it. Amine, NH3 is 4. It means tetraamine. Copper valency is 2, then copper 2 sulfate. Now the name is tetraamine copper 2 sulfate with water molecule. 4 molecules of water is there. If we are taking here, if we are taking the whole solution, then the tetramine copper sulfate is forming. And if we are taking only the copper hydroxide and treating with excess of ammonium hydroxide, then there will be a formation of tetraamine copper hydroxide. It means in place of the sulfate, hydroxides are forming because in the reactant the hydroxides are present. The reaction is a characteristic property of the copper ion, and it is used for the qualitative analysis. In excess, it is soluble and form the deep blue coloration. Zinc salt, very, very important salt. Zinc salt, which have the colorless solution, treating with ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide is weak alkali. When it give the treatment after the reaction, white cutaneous PPT is forming with the colorless solution of ammonium sulfate. Again, this whole solution means the zinc hydroxide and ammonium sulfate. Treating with the ammonium hydroxide in excess, there will be a formation of tetraamine. Check it, amine is 4, NH3 is 4. That's why tetraamine. Zinc is 2. 2 means the oxidation state of zinc is 2. Then the sulfate colorless solution is forming. And if we are taking only zinc hydroxide for the further reaction of the excess of your ammonium hydroxide, tetraamine zinc hydroxide is forming. Either of the reaction is valid. You can write any reaction. Both are valid in that case. That is soluble in ammonium hydroxide. Lead salt, lead nitrate, that is colorless in nature, treating with the ammonium hydroxide, and white PPT of the lead hydroxide is forming with ammonium nitrate. which has the chalky white precipitate in excess, again insoluble in nature. These both the tables are based on your reagent or the qualitative analysis, which are checking. One is with your strong alkali, that is sodium hydroxide, and second is with your weak alkali, that is ammonium hydroxide. After that, we are proceeding to the next topic, that is the action of alkali on certain metal. How the alkali are giving its result with the metals. Which metals are we are picking here? Mostly we are picking the zinc first of all. Zinc. Zinc treating with the sodium hydroxide, sodium zincate form. Already we have done in the above table with the hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas gives the pop sound and burns with the blue flame. Zinc with the potassium hydroxide, hot and concentrated. That observation is very, very important and you have to write it. Don't leave it. You have to learn it properly. This potassium zincate is forming. Potassium zincate colorless in nature with the hydrogen gas. Aluminium. When we are treating the aluminium with the sodium hydroxide and water, means we are taking the boiling caustic alkali solution. Means water is being added in this one. The sodium meta-aluminate is forming, and that meta-aluminate is your colorless in nature with the hydrogen gas. Same observation, the hydrogen is coming. Aluminium with the KOH, that the caustic potash, water, potassium meta-aluminate is forming with the hydrogen gas. If we are taking the fused alkali means the your reactive alkali. When we are taking that one, your aluminium treating with the fused alkali, then there will be a formation of sodium aluminate with your hydrogen gases there. Lead. Next reaction is with the lead. Lead treating with the sodium hydroxide, sodium plumbite is forming, and that is colorless in nature with a hydrogen gas. Again lead with the caustic potash, your potassium plumbite is forming, that is again colorless in nature with the hydrogen gas. Always remember, whenever the your metal react with your alkali, there will be a formation of salt and hydrogen gas. And the test of the hydrogen is it gives the pop sound and burns with the blue flame. Next is the action of alkali on metal oxide. First, we have done the action of your alkali on the metal. Now, the action of alkali on the metal oxide. We are taking the metal oxide here. When we are treating the metal oxide, sodium oxide I am taking here, and treating with the water, there is a formation of sodium hydroxide. Means oxide when treatment with the water, that is leading to the hydroxide. Metal oxide with your hydrochloric acid, there will be a formation of salt and water. Now the general thing, metal oxide with acid, salt and water, right? Metal hydroxide, that is sodium hydroxide, treating with your acid, salt and water is forming. That is a general criteria of the learning. When the metal is treating with your alkali, then there you salt and hydrogen gas. On the other hand, when the metal is treating with the acid, metal oxide is treating with the acid, then the salt and water is formed. The difference is the water in above case that was a hydrogen, and here the water is forming. But some your metallic oxides are having a dual character. What the meaning of the dual character is there? Dual means it is treating both with the acidic and basic. Means they can treat with the acid also and base. They have the both, show the both the nature, the acidic and basic character, and they are known as amphoteric nature, right? Only few are there. Now, what are they? These, the zinc is there, aluminum is there, and lead is there, which are showing the amphoteric nature. They can show both the reactions. They can show the both identification reactions with acid and bases there. First of all, check it. Zinc oxide treating with HCl, zinc chloride and water is forming. Zinc hydroxide treating with HCl, zinc chloride and water is forming. Same zinc oxide and hydroxide is treating with NaOH. Sodium zincate and water is forming. Means in every case for the zinc oxide, both the treatment of acid and base is possible, and there is a formation of your salt and water. Amphoteric oxides and hydroxides are those compounds which react with both acid and alkali to form salt and water is there. Now the last table of this chapter is that is zinc oxide or hydroxide. That is zinc oxide treating with the sodium hydroxide, sodium zincate, and water. Zinc hydroxide with the sodium hydroxide, sodium zincate plus water. Zinc hydroxide with the potassium hydroxide, again potassium zincate with water is there. Aluminium oxide treating with the aluminium oxide with white color, or aluminium hydroxide treating with the sodium hydroxide. There will be a formation of sodium meta-aluminate with water. What is the difference between this table and the previous table? The difference is the formation of water here. There the formation of hydrogen gas was there, but there in that table the only metal was there. Here the oxides and hydroxides are there. Next one, lead. Lead oxide, which is yellow in color. Students, kindly make it important. It's a very important point that lead or monoxide, yellow in color, treating with the sodium hydroxide. Sodium plumbite is forming, which is colorless and soluble in nature with the water formation. Lead hydroxide, treating with the sodium hydroxide. Again, your what? Na2PbO2 is forming with the water. Your yellow, that is lead monoxide treating with the KOH, caustic potash. Your potassium plumbite is forming, which is colorless and soluble with the water formation. Means that here the your oxides and hydroxides, some of the oxides and hydroxides are there which can both treat with the acid and base. They are showing the dual character and known as the amphoteric oxides and hydroxides are there. On the other hand, mostly the oxides of metal, they are treating with the water and forming a hydroxide, and oxide can treat with the your acid to form salt and water, but they can't react with the bases. What I mean to say that the amphoteric oxide can react both with the acid and base, but on the other hand, mostly metal can treat only with metal oxides are treating with your acid, and metal hydroxide are also treating with your acid, leading to the salt and water. They don't react with bases. Only the dual character metal oxides and hydroxide can treat with both acid and base. That's all for this chapter. And after the next one, that are the exercise question, in my next lecture, I will be giving you the I will be giving you the answers of this chapter. The answers will be based on 2019 edition. Kindly check the question and correlate your answer with that questions. Thank you and have a nice day.